Okay, so what I've got for you today is the most controversial series of StarCraft 2 that has been played recently. It's from the round of 16 of the GSL Code S, the most prestigious tournament over in South Korea. It's spawning right here in game number 1 of this best of 3 series on a map called Cyane. Playing with the blue Terran SCVs, we have the man who many consider to be the greatest StarCraft 2 player of all time. He's got $1.2 million in tournament earnings alone, which is honestly kind of crazy. We're of course looking at none other than Maru's main command center. His opponent in the opposite corner, playing with the red Zerg drones from Canada, an absolute channel favorite. She goes by the name of Scarlett. Alrighty, so this series it was played a couple of days ago, like I said, during the GSL Code S. Now, in case you're unfamiliar, the GSL Code S, it's a tournament that Maru has been dominating for a very long time. As a matter of fact, there's only 3 seasons of the GSL every year. Maru has won season 1 and 2 of this particular year. Once he won in the finals against Dark, once he won against Cure, and he is certainly the favorite going into this entire tournament. He's expected to take the entire thing. That being said, Scarlett, of course, is a very formidable opponent, but is she at the same level of Maru? So Scarlett tried to qualify this year for the first season as well as the second season, but sadly for her, she didn't make it through the qualifications. This time around, though, for the final season of the year, she did make it through, and well, now she's facing off against the man who is the favorite of the entire tournament. That being said, of course, Maru has been, well, working with the new multiplayer balance patch. He's obviously been able to cook up some fresh strategies, but there's a good chance that Maru wants to save those strategies until a little bit later into the tournament. I think in his mind, he's basically guaranteed to move on to at least like the top 8 or so, and that's probably where he wants to start showing off his greatest strategies. Now, I don't mean that with any disrespect towards Scarlett whatsoever. Scarlett is one of my personal favorites. She's really good at the game. But if you look at the Aligalek calculations, so Aligalek has a prediction measure where it can basically calculate what the odds are of a pro gamer winning against another pro gamer. And in a best of 3 series, Aligalek considers Maru to be the 89% favorite. So Scarlett winning maybe 1 in 10 encounters that these two play against each other. And on top of that, Maru has that very unique skill of being more powerful at offline tournaments than he is at online tournaments. There's only really a handful of players that have that. Basically, everybody gets nervous playing offline tournaments. When you're playing on a stage, you're playing, well, without the comfort of your own home. Serral has it, Maru has it, and I can imagine that Scarlett does not quite feel nearly as comfortable playing, well, from another country than where she normally lives. Although I do know she spends a lot of time over in Korea. Anyhow, with all of that out of the way, I haven't talked about the game yet, and this series has been going on for 3 minutes already. That's because everything here is normal. We've got ourselves a double barracks start right there for Maru. This is that strategy that Bjorn has been popularizing once again. It hasn't been as popular over the last couple of weeks ever since the new multiplayer balance patch came out, but it's of course a very normal strat. We've got ourselves a triple CC on the back of this. We're gonna go for double add-ons here at the front as well. These are a little bit exposed. Maybe that's something Scarlett can work with. Did he just... Okay, I think he may have just gotten at least... I'm just gonna back up, sorry. Did he just get 1 or 2 creep tumors? Ah, the first tumor was placed over here, of course. Okay, if you would have gotten both, that would have been an absolutely phenomenal start here. Still stellar micro right there, though, from Maru, keeping all of those units alive. Losing a creep tumor sucks, but as long as you don't lose both of them, it's not the end of the world. If both of them would have gone down, that would have really been bad, but Scarlett's gonna continue spreading the creep over in this direction, and I guess she'll get some creep on the low ground as well, after spreading it throughout the main. By the way, if I seem a little bit lower energy in this particular cast, I'm trying to, on purpose, be a little bit more chill today. I had a little operation done on Wednesday. So this video, yeah, it's Saturday today. I'm gonna be uploading this video today as well. Trying to take it easy. Nothing all too serious. I'm healing up nicely. Just a couple of stitches. And I wanna make sure that I don't pull them, because that would be bad. But luckily, my job is to sit behind a screen and, well, in front of a screen preferably, and talk into a microphone. So luckily it's not all too stressful. But yeah, if I seem a little bit lower energy because of that, honestly, I feel like if you look at my cast from a couple of years ago, I used to be a lot higher energy overall. These days I feel like I've, at least when it comes to commentary, I've chilled out quite a bit. Back in the day, everybody was hyperactive on YouTube, right? And maybe that's still a little bit the case these days too. But I actually prefer listening to the chill commentary myself, and I guess I've Also incorporated that into my own casting, but yeah. In case you were wondering, tried my best here, working with the tools that I've got. But I really did want to check out this particular series today. I was thinking about maybe saving it until next week, but I'm feeling pretty good. So I figured, you know what? Let's get it over with. Let's go ahead and have a look at exactly what ended up going down. So I know who ends up winning this series, but I haven't seen the games yet. And I've been wondering ever since this was played. Okay, so it's an armory right here on the back of this. Ah, okay, so this is a triple CC Marine Hellbat attack. This is one of those special builds that we see every once in a while. It's certainly not the most popular strategy to go for, but it can catch the Zerg player off guard, because these Hellions, well, Scarlett sees them right now, these Hellions can of course transform into Hellbats, and yeah, normally Zerg is only gonna have Lings and Queens available at this stage in the game. So we've got ourselves some Lings, we've got ourselves some Queens, but that's it. We don't really have a whole lot more. Okay. Where are the Medivacs? A little bit of a Zerg counterattack. Just trying to get these add-ons. Getting the combat shield tonight is actually kind of nice, although it's not something you really need for this attack. That did come at the cost of a lot of Lings, and I think this may very well cost Scarlett this hatchery, although she does have 10 queens. She's got more queens than you ordinarily would at this point. You know what? I don't even think she needs to give up the hatch. Nah, she's got 58 workers, 44 army supply, tons of queens, 11 of them right now. Yeah, these Hellbats may be weak against, Zerglings may be weak against Hellbats, but 11 queens against 4 Hellbats and a couple Medivacs is definitely something that Scarlett can work with. And she's already gone back to droning here. The only thing right now that I don't really like right here for the Canadian Zerg is the fact that she doesn't have any upgrades going yet and she doesn't have the lair. But I think she'll be able to go for Baneling speed and 1-1 here very soon. Yeah, she's been focusing on trying to not die here in the earlier stages of the game. Creep spread is looking phenomenal as well. We once again have a restart right here on that Tech Lab upgrade, but with the upgrade gone, Maru can't really commit as aggressively here. We're gonna basically just settle right now on a little bit of creep clearing. If you want a good start as Zerg, this is what you're looking for. You can't really get a better start than this against somebody of Maru's caliber. Maru decided to go for a pretty aggressive opener here. Obviously, he did make a third command center. If he wouldn't have made this third command center, that would have been an absolute disaster for him. So, at the very least, he'll still have some economy here. But this is not the start that our South Korean hero was hoping for. Scarlett playing standard. Okay, a Ling Bane. Going into a Hydralisk's den as well. Keep in mind that the Hydra is a little bit easier to get out right now with the multiplayer balance patch. Banelings, of course, well, they have lost 5 hit points and they also deal less damage to units such as the Marine. So in the end, I still think this is a pretty playable position right here for Maru. But I would be concerned right now if I was him. Yeah, there's a lot of timings here that Scarlett could go for. So she could, for example, go for an all-out attack here in a moment with either 1-1 or 2-2 finishing up. She could go for an assault as soon as the Baneling speed finishes. Honestly, though, I think the strongest move that Scarlett can do right now is to just not do anything. Just keep playing the macro game and wait for him to come to you. As a Zerg, he can sort of soft contain the opponent on like 4 bases and eventually obtain the victory. And usually that's a really great strat. In a game like this, Scarlett can basically just force the opponent on 3 bases at most. Now we have a huge amount of army though, moving across the map. There's no 4th command center to be seen anywhere. +2 is going to start up right now for Maru, but this is an attack that needs to deal damage. And when you look at the supply counts right now, it's looking really promising right now for Scarlett. Then again though, this is Maru we're talking about. This man has phenomenal micro. He's also got really good engagements in general, and this is a location on this map that we haven't really seen a lot of fights in, but if the creep is gone, I just don't see how Zerg is going to be able to engage here. Now, she is going to finish up 1-1, so +1 armor has already finished. Melee attacks level 1 are finishing up right now too. Queens are trying their very best. Is Scarlett going to commit as soon as these upgrades are done? Yes, that's exactly what she does. She decides to pull the trigger right here as that upgrade finishes up. Okay, 1 Baneling right there did get a decent detonation, but the majority of the Marines are still alive. Beautiful splits right here on both the siege tanks as well as the Marines. I love those Liberators preventing those Queens from moving down towards the low ground. Alright, Scarlett still has a bunch of units committed right there in the main base. Maru, though, tiptoeing his way forward and doing that Maru thing, right? Where he's not really pushing too aggressively, but very confidently. There's confidence in StarCraft gameplay. I know if you're maybe a more casual viewer, that may sound like a strange thing, but the way he maneuvers around his units definitely shows a lot of comfortability, I guess. Is that a good word? I don't know if it's a word. It's a word now. Looks like eventually, though, they're reinforcing Lings and, well, Hydralisks. It's interesting to see this many Hydras here. They do push back all of that siege tank group over here, but still, these traits are not that great right here for the Zerg. That being said, Scarlett has managed to hold on, and her economy is still solid. She already rebuilt a base over here in the top left-hand corner as well. Maru got rid of the creep over here. We should really see some new tumors going down here as soon as Brenda does have a little bit more energy. The hatchery on the right side of the map did stay alive, but I don't know if the same can be said right here for this base over here. Yeah, now we're gonna start targeting. Okay, we do have enough units and a wraparound as well to shut this all down, but that is 7 drones down the drain. And if you compare the supply count that we are at right now compared to the one that we had just a few minutes ago, this is looking a whole lot better right here for Maru. Maru now gonna take the golden minerals too. This has of course been a triple CC, quote-unquote, all-in. Maru is only just now gonna secure another base, and he hasn't had that mass command center style that we usually see him play. Ooh, bunch of Marines over here, maybe caught off guard a little bit. Maru busy microing here in the top left-hand corner, and you know what? He may very well get a lot more drones over here if Scarlett does not respect these units. 4 medevacs without energy, but they're still gonna allow a lot of these units to, pick up and get on out of there, continue harassing another moment. The creep has been replaced somewhat, but as good as the creep spread has been throughout this game, yeah, the re-spreading in this area is not quite optimal. Okay, Scarlett, she wants to engage once again. She could even give up on this base right now if she really wants to. There's another hatchery building here to the right. Okay, Banelings connecting over here. Maru, a little late on the pickup. Is Scarlett gonna be able to punish him for this? I mean, she's still fighting over here as well. Looks like the Marines in this area have gone down. Hatchery still lives, but only just barely. There's infestors on the production tab right now. Keep in mind, they will always spawn with enough energy now for a fungal growth. Looks like they're reinforcing units, though. Coming in from the top left-hand corner will allow Scarlett to get rid of these siege tanks. Okay, Hydra's unupgraded other than the Carapace. So you really want to get the majority of your damage coming out of the Zerglings and the Banelings. The golden minerals, though, are going to be quite nice right here for the South Korean Terran, but look at that. Scarlett has been leading the income advantage ever since, well, minute 2 or so of this game, right? Ever since, yeah, really the beginning of this particular match. Has Maru seen the infestors at this point? Okay, he's going to get a vision of it right now. Careful, careful, careful. You cannot lose your medeffects. Okay, the boost is gonna activate just barely in the nick of time. That could have been a disaster. Matter of fact, drop in the top left-hand corner as well, getting a little bit of work done, but no boost available. And that's a medevac, well, landing over here at whatever... I don't know what this is. Anyways, it's landing underneath the map Alcyone. Adrenal glands coming up right now for Scarlett. Keep in mind that Scarlett really hasn't attacked ever since, like, that combat shield snipe. Like 8 minutes ago or so at this point. Fungals. Fungals are so nice here. Fungals are so powerful here. Can she get a fungal? She can get a massive fungal growth. Oh my god. That could not have been better right there for Scarlett at all. And I think that actually seals the deal. She is cleaning up most of these units over here as well. This game has already been... yeah, an uphill battle here for Maru for a long time, and now finally is when Scarlett decides to pull the trigger. We have a Widowmine transition here, but with all of those Marines gone, it's our Canadian Zerg who obtains the victory in game number 1. Okay, game number 2. We find ourselves on Site Delta. Honestly, brilliant game right there from Scarlett. She didn't really make any mistakes. She scouted her opponent effectively. She had the right amount of units available to deal with that early game push. In a way, right? Maru went for what is, I would like to call it like a very committed skill check. So that triple CC style into a Hellbat attack is an indicator that he is assuming the opponent is pretty good, but he's not really respecting the opponent fully. Because generally speaking, if you want to go for a Hellbat attack, you commit to the Hellbat attack. right? You don't necessarily place down a third command center super early and then do a little bit of a committed push. Because the armory went down way before the engineering base, and obviously that means that your upgrades and all that are gonna be a little bit later. So Maru went for both a timing attack as well as an economically focused build at the same time. Which in my mind is always a little bit disrespectful, right? It's like, yeah, I don't even need those extra 8 Marines or so I could have had with this attack if I did not put down the command center. I'll probably win against you no matter what I do anyways. But yeah, Scarlett looked at it once. She had the right amount of queens available. She kept that hatchery alive. I would say the only point of criticism I can really have is that she didn't spread the creep from that, what is it, like the 4th base location down towards the low ground with that follow-up attack from Maru. I think that's really the only thing that didn't go perfect for her. But other than that, that was a stellar game. Yeah, she out-macroed and out-microed one of the greatest StarCraft 2 players in the world. Now keep in mind, this is a best of 3 only. So yeah, the first person to win 2 maps will be the one who obtains the victory. Maru once again going for this low ground situation, and okay, he's gonna save up Marines. A little bit cheeky. No SCV scout here from the Terran rather at all. No SCV scout from the Zerg player either, by the way, for what it's worth, but this Overlord is gonna be in a little bit of trouble. Yeah, there's a pillar over here, but other than that, not a lot of locations for it to hide. Scarlett wants to go on over to this high ground over here. Even this pillar, I mean, it would just, yeah, force the barracks to lift up, and I don't think it would make it. These Marines having a grand old time. They shut down that Overlord with ease. 2 additional barracks inside of the main base. Is Maru gonna go for, really? I was gonna say a triple Rex. But I guess we can now make that a quadruple Rex instead. This is another one of those pretty... I don't know the word. I'm calling it disrespectful, but it really isn't. This is one of those, I am much better than you, so get out of my game type of builds, you know? Like, if Maru were to execute this against me, I would die 100% of the time. Also because I'm playing against Maru, and I would just, yeah, mess up my hotkeys and just all of a sudden not remember how to play. This is generally not considered to be a great build at the highest level of StarCraft 2, but it's one of those builds that would work wonders if you're, I don't know, trying to rank up on the ladder. Say you want to, like, start in Bronze League and you want to climb all the way up to Masters or so. This is one of those builds that can catch Zerg players off guard. Because it's pretty uncommon and not really something that Zerg players will have a lot of experience with playing against. If you do this build, though, against the top-level Zergs in the world, like, for example, Serral, he may not get a glimpse of all of these barracks, but he'll see the amount of Marines that you have and determine what you're going for based off of that. The problem, of course, right here for Scarlett is that she lost that very first Overlord, and she doesn't have another Overlord out in the field. So there's really no way for her to scout right now what the Terran player is going for. She could go for the Overlord speed upgrade, but that's kind of expensive. And oftentimes the problem with the Overlord speed upgrade is that, yeah, you can figure out exactly what you're playing against, but then you have now invested resources into things that help you scout, and now you can't actually muster up enough army and upgrades to be able to actually counter what you've just scouted. So a lot of Zerg players do not go for the Pneumatized Carapace upgrade very quickly. I think what Scarlett is trying to do is just one of those jack of all trades type of defense starts, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if we once again see her go up to like a dozen queens here and just make a bunch of, yeah, queens and Zerglings. Now the question is, will she over-drone? So Maru is sitting right now only at, well, a small amount of economy. He's gonna finish up both of these upgrades, and I think he's gonna march across the map with just a ton of Marines. There's not gonna be any medevacs, there's no Hellions, none of that. We had a small little march out over here with these Marines, which is very dangerous. If Scarlett ends up sniping these, that would be amazing for her. Okay, apparently this is the moment, 50-ish drones, 52 workers, where she starts up mass unit production. She's thinking about making another hatchery over here. I don't mind that. But here come the Marines, though, and we're even gonna pull the SCVs. Okay. Maru 1-0 behind. At risk of being eliminated out of the round of 16 of the GSL Code S after winning so many of them, decides to go for this build order in game number 2. This is Maru to a T. This is what he loves to do. It's a complete gamble. I don't think it's a very good build order overall, but it can certainly catch the opponent off guard. Okay, here's the first stim pack being activated. Then I say first, because Scarlett is not actually jumping here on the engagement. Instead, she's marching those queens towards a corner, which really scares me a lot. That being said, though, reinforcing marines are being picked off by those Zerglings. This hatchery is never going to happen. This is an all-in. Maru doesn't care about it at all. Scarlett is going to have to jump this. Problem is, with this many links, she may run out of larva. The queens, of course, are gone. +1 ground carapace gets denied as well. Now, does she have enough stuff? She's been making non-stop army for a long time after a much bigger economy at the start of this game. And she does indeed have enough units to clean up this 2-base all-in from Maru. And just like that. I mean, that was not enough economical damage done there by the Terran whatsoever. Scarlett now finds herself with an overwhelming advantage. Doesn't look to me like, no, Maru is gonna GG out. If this was a ladder game, I think he would have tapped out already. The problem is, this is the most prestigious tournament in all of Korea. Maybe even the world. You don't want to lose early. Scarlett, though, at this point, could still certainly get nervous. There's still ways you can mess this up. Maru has decided to keep marching units across the map, which I actually think is a pretty significant misplay. I think both of the strategies he's gone for so far here in this series are pretty significant misplays. And then suddenly you have moments like that, right? Where he's microing what seems to be every marine individually, and he gets more value out of them than you ordinarily would. Scarlett, by the way, quick on the queen remakes. So she's been, yeah, trying her best to just get those queens going once again and hit as many injects as possible. One problem with losing all your queens is that you don't have enough larva production anymore to keep up with a Zergling-based force, even when you do have all of the drones. Double expand right now from Scarlett. Just mass unit production here still. There's no third command center to be seen anywhere here from Maru, so he's just decided to go into a factory together with a starport. I think we're gonna see the big switcheroo, and we'll just see him continue with a 2-base all-in. In game number 1, we had effectively a very long 3 command center all-in. In this game, we have an even worse version of that build by going for only 2 command centers. Now keep in mind, Maru is the strongest macro Terran in the world. This guy has phenomenal late game. He's the reason why everybody was basically turtling in the late game, right? Going up to a dozen command centers. And then he decides to go for an opener like this. Okay, Scarlett, ready to go and bring this series home. Oh my god, the Banelings get a massive detonation. There's one siege tank available, purposefully sieging it up in this location as aggressively as possible. SCVs have been pulled into the Banelings to try and shut them down. But there it is, Scarlett successfully eliminates Maru from the GSL Code S. Well, to be fair, not just Scarlett. Maru, after this series, went up against Solar and lost against him too. Another series where I feel like he really must be the favorite.